Humans have always sought answers about their existence, their purpose, and, most importantly, the meaning of their own identity. In this journey of self-discovery, many get trapped in toxic patterns, relationships that drain their energy and situations that seem to repeat over and over, as if fate itself were against them. But what if I told you there's a deeper explanation? Carl Jung dedicated his life to understanding the mysteries of the unconscious, and one of his most powerful insights was this: the outer world is a reflection of our inner world. Maybe you've been there. No matter how hard you try to be kind, to help others, and to give love, you always end up surrounded by people who seem to drain your energy, manipulate you, or just leave you feeling empty. It's like a part of you unknowingly attracts the very dynamics you want to avoid. But here's where Jung challenges us to look beyond the surface. The reality we experience isn't a random collection of coincidences. It's a direct manifestation of what lies in our unconscious mind. When someone doesn't truly love themselves, their energy gives off a frequency that others pick up on, even if no one realizes it consciously. Jung spoke about the concept of the shadow, that hidden part of ourselves we repress, ignore, or deny because it doesn't fit the image we want to show the world. And here's the most striking part: this shadow doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. Everything we reject inside seeks a way to express itself, and the most common way this happens is through the people we attract into our lives. Imagine there's a quiet voice inside you constantly repeating, "I'm not enough. I don't deserve love. I have to prove my worth." This isn't something you can simply silence with positive affirmations or hope that someone else will erase it for you. This voice shapes how you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you. If deep down you believe you have to struggle to be loved, you'll attract relationships that demand constant sacrifice and never let you feel fully accepted. But here's the key: genuine self-love isn't about motivational quotes or convincing yourself that you're worthy. The true self-love Jung invites us to cultivate comes when you begin integrating your shadow, when you stop running from those parts of yourself that taught you to reject who you are. You can't heal what you refuse to see. Most people spend their lives hiding their wounds instead of healing them. The process of integrating your shadow can be uncomfortable because it means facing everything you've tried to avoid. It means realizing that many of the relationships you've had weren't just bad luck, but the result of internal programming that led you to seek them, even unconsciously. But here's the most powerful part: when you start truly loving yourself, you don't have to do anything for those dark people to step away. It happens naturally. People who feed on others' energy, those who manipulate, control, or prey on insecurity, cannot hold their ground in the presence of someone who has integrated their shadow. They're like predators looking for easy prey. But when they see someone whole, without emptiness to exploit, they simply leave, not because you reject them, but because they can't find what they came for anymore. True self-love is an invisible but mighty shield. It's not arrogance, pride, or a defense mechanism. It's a vibration so strong and steady that anyone who doesn't match it simply can't stay by your side. And here's where the magic happens. When you begin to love yourself genuinely, the right people, those who resonate with your essence, start to show up. Not because you chase them desperately, but because you've shifted your energy so profoundly that only those who share your frequency can remain in your life. But how do you reach this point? Jung taught that the first step is self-awareness. You can't transform what you don't understand. So, it's essential to begin observing yourself honestly. Ask yourself, what kind of relationships have I been attracting? What patterns keep repeating in my life? What parts of myself have I been suppressing? There are no right or wrong answers, only truths you need to discover to break free. As you start this self-exploration, you'll notice resistance. The mind clings to the familiar, even if it's painful. But that's the challenge. You must be willing to cross that uncomfortable threshold to access a new version of yourself. And when you do, when you truly begin to inhabit your being without fear or shame, your outer world will start to reflect that change. Toxic relationships dissolve, not because you force them out, but because there's no longer an anchor inside you to hold them. It's like you've changed your radio frequency. You're no longer tuned to the same station, so the interference fades away. That's when real transformation happens. You start attracting what truly aligns with you, not out of desperation, but because you've created the inner space for it to arrive. This is the real power of self-love, according to Jung. When you stop being a reflection of your unresolved wounds, the world stops treating you like one. You don't need to convince anyone to value you. You don't have to beg for love, friendship, or respect. You just become someone who naturally gives those things to themselves, and then the dark people drift away on their own because there's nothing left inside you to feed on. When you start working on your inner self and build a genuine relationship with who you are, the world begins to respond differently. It's not just a positive mindset or repeating affirmations in front of a mirror. It's deeper. It's a shift in how you vibrate, how you see yourself, and how that perception shapes the reality you experience. Jung spoke about individuation, the process by which a person becomes who they truly are by integrating all aspects of themselves, even the parts they were taught to reject. And here's a crucial point. When you fully know and accept yourself, you become unmanipulable. No one can control a person who no longer seeks external validation, who doesn't need others to confirm their worth because they've found it within. Think about all the times you let someone cross your boundaries, maybe out of fear of being alone. The belief that you had to be understanding, or the idea that love requires sacrifice. Jung would say that behind this tendency to give in is an unintegrated shadow, a part of you that learned to link love with suffering. But here's the liberating truth. Love should not hurt, drain you, or make you feel less than you are. Real love for yourself and others is expansive. It pushes you forward, nurtures you, and lifts you up. Any relationship that constantly drains you, fills you with anxiety, or makes you feel like you have to work to be loved is not love. It's a projection of unhealed wounds. When you understand this and stop justifying what you know deep down doesn't serve you, true change begins. Many people fear letting go. They cling to relationships they know aren't good for them because the unknown feels scarier than familiar pain. But Jung taught us that true transformation only happens when you dare to face that unknown, when you let go of what doesn't align with you without rushing to replace it. If you've surrounded yourself with people who constantly drain your energy, who seem to enjoy minimizing you or make you feel like you need to prove your worth, that's no accident. It reflects something inside you that's still unhealed. The good news? You can change this dynamic at any moment. You don't have to wait for others to change or for circumstances to be different. The change starts with you, how you decide to treat yourself, the boundaries you set, and how you respond to those around you. When someone truly loves themselves, their energy shifts and people can feel it. There are no openings for manipulation, false promises, or emotional games, not because you become insensitive, but because you now clearly see what you couldn't before. You no longer fool yourself by justifying behaviors you know aren't healthy. At that moment, the dark people begin to leave on their own. That doesn't mean you won't face challenges or that suddenly everyone will be perfect. It means your reactions to situations will change. You won't get stuck in destructive patterns or feel the need to convince anyone of your value. You'll simply live from your authenticity, and that alone will rearrange everything around you. The universe responds to the energy you emit. When you treat yourself with respect and love, you attract situations and people that reflect that. And those who can't sustain that vibration simply drift away, not because you actively reject them, but because they can't find what they're looking for in you anymore. Here's another key Jungian idea: projection. What irritates or triggers you in others often reflects something you haven't accepted in yourself. And the reverse is true. When you stop fighting inner battles and fully accept yourself, your outer world stops throwing situations at you that mirror those struggles. This isn't magic, it's deep psychology. When you love and respect yourself, your unconscious stops projecting your wounds onto others. You no longer attract those who seek to take advantage of your energy because there's no weak spot left for them to exploit. That's the secret few truly understand. Real self-love isn't just self-esteem. It's a deep internal transformation that shows up in everything around you. Dark people, those who control, manipulate, or live in constant negativity, cannot stay in the presence of someone freed from their own inner chains. It's like you're tuned into a different frequency, a higher level of awareness. And the most surprising thing? You don't have to do anything to push them away. They leave on their own because they can no longer get anything from you. But to get there, you need commitment to yourself. You have to be willing to look without filters and do the internal work many avoid because they'd rather distract themselves with the outside world. This process isn't easy, but it's the only path to an authentic, full life. When you decide to love yourself, when you choose to face your shadows instead of running from them, everything begins to change. The right people start showing up, not because you desperately seek companionship, but because your energy shifts so much that only those aligned with your vibration can stay by your side. So here's the question. Are you ready to do this work? Are you willing to leave behind what no longer serves you and allow yourself to live from your authenticity? Because if you are, I promise the world you know will change in ways you never imagined. When you live from a place of authenticity and genuine self-love, life reconfigures itself in ways that once seemed impossible. It's not just that negative people leave. Everything around you starts aligning with your true self. But here's something important. This process isn't linear. There will be days when you doubt, when you feel tempted to slip back into old patterns, when fear of loneliness or change makes you question if you're really doing the right thing. And in those moments, you need to remember what Jung taught us. Growth only happens when you dare to face the unknown. It's not about becoming cold or distant. It's about developing a relationship with yourself so strong that you no longer need others to confirm your worth. When you reach that point, the relationships that come into your life are completely different. They're no longer based on need, fear, or emotional dependence. They're built on mutual respect, free from games or manipulation, where you feel safe to be yourself without fear of rejection. And the most beautiful part, when you become that person who loves and respects themselves, you inspire others to do the same. Because self-love is contagious, not in an arrogant or selfish way, but genuinely and deeply. Those ready to grow will resonate with you. Those still holding on to destructive patterns will drift away on their own. That's the real power of true self-love. You don't have to force anything or convince anyone to value you. You just live from your authenticity, and the world responds to that energy. When you decide to honor yourself, the entire universe conspires to honor you too. When you live from a place of genuine self-love, you'll notice something that wasn't so clear before. Many connections you held on to weren't based on true affinity, but on emotional voids you tried to fill. Jung called projection one of the unconscious mind's most powerful mechanisms, and it's exactly this projection that led you, more than once, to bond with people who only reflected the parts of yourself you hadn't worked on yet. Think about all those relationships that seemed doomed to fail, the people who drained your energy without giving anything back, the times you repeated the same painful patterns. None of it was random. Every experience was an opportunity to look closely at which parts of you were seeking validation outside, when the answer was always inside. When you decide to be honest with yourself, you start noticing that many dynamics you lived were the result of an unconscious need for approval. Maybe at some point you learned that you had to please others to be loved, that love was something you earned through sacrifice, or that your value depended on how much you gave. That's what Jung would call a psychic conditioning. An idea so deeply rooted that it has guided your relationships without you realizing. But the amazing thing is, you can break free at any moment. You can decide you don't have to prove anything anymore, that you don't have to carry the burden of healing others, that your self-love doesn't depend on how much you give. And when you make that shift, everything in your life rearranges. People who once seemed to hold power over you stop influencing you, not because they change, but because you do. You no longer react to manipulation the same way. You no longer feel the need to convince anyone to value you. And you no longer exhaust yourself in one-sided relationships. As a result, those people who once seemed so present in your life begin to fade away, as if they were never really there. You don't have to do anything to make them leave. You don't need to explain why they don't fit in your life anymore or justify your growth. You simply become someone who vibrates differently, someone no longer tuned into frequencies of dependence, sacrifice, or self-sabotage, and that's something you can feel. Dark people, those who feed on others' weaknesses, cannot stay near someone who's found themselves. It's like their energy loses access to yours, like they suddenly realize they can't influence you anymore. And in that moment, without conflict, without arguments or unnecessary explanations. They walk away. That's the power of self-love. It's not a shield you use to defend yourself from the world. It's an internal light so bright that everything that doesn't resonate with it simply dissolves. In its place, you start attracting people who truly align with you, situations that nurture your growth, relationships that lift you up instead of wearing you down. But for this to happen, you must commit to yourself. Understanding this intellectually isn't enough. You have to apply it daily. You have to be willing to say no when something doesn't feel right, to let go without fear what no longer serves you, and to give yourself permission to be your own priority without guilt. And while at first this might feel strange, over time you'll realize this is how you should have always lived, not from fear of losing others, but from the certainty that those truly meant to walk with you will never ask you to betray yourself. When you reach the point of truly loving and valuing yourself, you realize life is no longer about fitting in, seeking acceptance, or settling for what's available. It's about consciously choosing what energy you allow in your space. Surrounding yourself with people who add to your life, not those who only take without giving back. And the most powerful part? You don't have to force this. It happens naturally when you live from your truth. Those who used to drain you, make you doubt your worth, or exploit your insecurities have no place in your life anymore, because there simply isn't room for them. Not because you become closed off or distant, but because your energy transforms into something only those vibrating on your same frequency can sustain. Jung taught us that when we integrate our shadows, stop projecting our wounds onto others, and take responsibility for our growth, the world stops presenting the same challenges dressed differently. And here's the most powerful truth. You don't have to fight for this to happen. You don't need to convince anyone, make speeches about your transformation, or prove anything. All you need to do is follow your internal process, keep strengthening your relationship with yourself, and stay firm in your decision not to allow anything that isn't aligned with your authenticity. Real self-love isn't selfishness, arrogance, or isolation. It's knowing you deserve the best and acting accordingly. It's understanding that your energy is precious and that you can't waste it on people or situations that don't match your growth. And the best part, when you stand firm in this conviction, life rewards you by bringing exactly what you need: genuine connections, meaningful opportunities, and a peace inside that once felt out of reach. Now, take a moment to reflect. Think about all the times you betrayed yourself out of fear of losing someone. Think about the moments when you knew something wasn't right but tolerated it anyway. Ask yourself, what would happen if you decided to honor yourself above all else? How would your life change if you stopped accepting less than you truly deserve? This is your moment to take that step. Don't wait for circumstances to change. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission. Start today, right now, to treat yourself with the love and respect you've always sought from others. And I promise you, when you do, everything around you will start to transform. If this message resonates with you, if something inside you feels it's time for change, I invite you to join this community. Share this content with someone you know needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling me which message impacted you most, and subscribe to keep receiving reflections that can help you on your path to self-discovery. Your energy is valuable. Your time is sacred. Your life deserves to be lived fully. Make this the moment you decide to take the first step toward a more authentic existence. See you in the next video. If this message touched you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights that can help you on your journey of self-discovery and growth. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because the power of transformation grows when we lift each other up. Your support means the world and helps us create even more meaningful content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.